Hi, my name is Muska, and I got engaged to the wrong person, or married, you could say. Came to Canada when I was 10, and my family's pretty open-minded, but I ended up getting an arranged marriage because I thought that's what my parents wanted, and they thought this is what I wanted. But anyways, I got engaged to a person who we hardly knew. None of us had actually met him, but his family was in Canada, and he was in Afghanistan. So they told us much about him, and then we did some research, and everyone was telling us, yeah, he's perfect, because no one bothered to tell us he wasn't. They assumed we're going to get upset, not knowing that sooner or later we're going to find out what he's actually like, or what his family is like, or everything we knew about him was a lie. But I ended up getting engaged in Canada. They wanted to do a nikah right away, but we refused, and that didn't happen. After that, they wanted me to go to Afghanistan to meet him, to see if we're going to get along or like each other or not. And as soon as I got there, they told us that we're going to get married, and I was obviously not okay with it. Being the only daughter in my family, I wanted my whole family to be there to witness the wedding, and we couldn't afford it at the time. So we told them that once the sponsorship works, the whole family will come, and then we'll have a wedding there. And they said, okay, fine. So they're going to have a party, since they already booked everything. We're going to have a party where I get to meet his family, and my family agreed to that. So I was like, yeah, totally cool, we'll meet your family. There, they brought a mullah, and the nikah was done, and there was not much I could do. Even though my gut feeling was telling me to walk off because that's not what we agreed on, I stayed because I was too scared of what's going to happen. What would people say about my family? Not that I care about it, but I knew my parents would. So I just stayed there and watched everything happen. And that was pretty much it. I got engaged there. After that, I wasn't allowed to do anything. Well, I guess you could say married. I wasn't allowed to go to school. I wanted to go to law school. I was done my college, and law school was my next dream. And they were okay with it before we got engaged, but not after. Suddenly everything changed. They did a 180-degree change. Nothing I did before was okay. They had to control every move I made, where I was, who I was with. If I was going out with my friends, my phone had to be on, and he had to be on the other end, and I couldn't tell them that he's listening to the conversation. Things got crazy as the day went by, and I didn't want to tell my parents any of this or any of my friends because I didn't want them to hate him, because he's the only son-in-law of the family. And I was actually, out of the girls in my whole family, cousins, I was the first to get engaged. So I didn't want the first son-in-law in the family to be hated on, or the family to be hated. So everything that happened was just between me and him and his family. He would occasionally call and complain, and I'd take the blame, all of it, because I didn't want my parents to hate him, and I'd rather have them get mad at me. And then finally, things went bad, and they just couldn't take it. I just couldn't take it, and they wanted complete control of everything. I was pretty much abused of not physically, but every other way possible, I guess. And he just, everything was by their books, and everything I said and did was wrong, and I was not good enough, I was not pretty enough, and it was bad. So finally one day, and this is when they wanted me to go back to Afghanistan and have a kid with him, because that would make the sponsorship work faster, and he would come to Canada faster. And it made no sense for me to go have a child with a person that I agreed to get engaged to him, not married. So I felt like I was engaged and not married. And then after that, when they told my parents that I should go and get pregnant, it didn't make sense. And they would have arguments with me because I'm from a Pashtun family, and they weren't. I was just basically, they used that against me at every side. So after a lot of arguments with me and my parents not knowing about it, I had enough. And one day I just exploded, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore, because when it came to having a kid with them, and I thought about it, I can't have a child with someone like that, and a family like that. I can't. At first I thought it was just my life I was ruining. And when the whole child story came into play, I couldn't have a kid with someone like that and ruin another life. So I put my foot down, and I said I was done, and I couldn't do it anymore. And everybody was shocked because no one saw it coming, because apparently our life was perfect. And my parents didn't agree with my choice, because what would people say? So-and-so's daughter left her fiance, woohoo, oh my God, what's going to happen? But I gave them the choice to stand beside me or against me. My brother stood beside me, all three of them, and my parents didn't know where to stand. They loved me. They wanted my happiness. At the same time, what would people say? But at the end, I left him, even though he came to Canada with my sponsorship. I'm done with him. I had to officially get a divorce because I was legally married. And after leaving him, I'm actually happier. I now host a TV show. I work at a law firm. I help anyone I can because I know how it feels to be in my position, even though every story is different. But I know the pain, and not having someone by your side is probably the hardest. So now, like at the time, I couldn't see the light, but now I can. I'm sitting under lights. So I know it gets better, it gets easier, and knowing that I wasn't the only one that went through things like that, it makes it easier because it's like, okay, I didn't do something wrong. It wasn't my fault. It happened, yeah, it did, but it made me a stronger person. I would have never thought I'd stand in front of my parents and say, hey, listen, I'm not doing this, I'm done. But I did it because I knew that wasn't the life I wanted for myself and my future kids. So I walked out, and now I'm a lot happier. So if you're watching this and you're going through something like this, just know that things do get better. There is light. There is a lot of friends. There's people that are going to be proud of you. You may not see it at the time when you make the decision that this is it, but trust me, there will be people that will tell you they're proud of you, and I don't know what else to say because I'm like telling you my story and I get everything flash in my eyes, like everything I went through, and not everything I'm going to be able to say. And it's hard, but I'm a lot better today than I was a year and a half ago because I am me again. I could look at myself in the mirror and be like, hey, I'm pretty. I didn't feel like that when I was with him because nothing I did was good enough or pretty enough. And today I'm like a lot stronger. I have a big fan base. My show is international. It's on Street TV, so if you want, you can watch that. And it's nice to be me again, to laugh, to be happy, and not to fake a smile to people because no one knew what I was going through and it was just me. Now I'm me. So please know that there is help and know that things do get better. Thank you.